welcome to the first edition of Government at Work for 2022. I'm your presenter, Adina Johnson, thanking you for joining us. In the headlines, Government of Montserrat increases the public gathering limit to 75, and 2022 projected to be a year of growth in most sectors. These and other stories after this break. The Government of Montserrat has increased the number of persons allowed to gather in a public place to 75. As of 5 a.m. on Monday, February 14, 2022, SRO number 9 of 2022 took effect with amendments to the previous Public Health COVID-19 Suppression Order number 2, Order SRO 5 of 2022. In addition to the increase in the number of large gatherings, the order also makes the following amendments. The definition or classification of a non-resident technician has been expanded. Non-resident technician means a person who travels to Montserrat for the purpose of assisting with certification and maintenance of equipment. The definition now includes a vaccinated medical specialist engaged by a public or private entity who travels to Montserrat for no more than 10 days. A professional person now means a person whose job requires 1 year training or work experience and whose job is not of a temporary or seasonal nature. The testing period for a fully vaccinated person who enters Montserrat and is in quarantine is now 3 to 5 days after entering Montserrat. Once the test shows that the individual is negative for COVID-19, he or she will be released from quarantine. Previously, the testing period for a fully vaccinated person was 3 to 4 days. SRO number 9 of 2022 expires on March 31st, 2022 at 5 a.m. The SRO is available on the Government of Montserrat website under the Attorney General's page. 2022 is projected to be a year of growth in most sectors. This announcement was made by Premier and Minister of Finance, Honorable Joseph Farrell, during his 2022 New Year's message. He said Montserrat's economic indicators are showing and forecasting growth in most sectors. However, he cautions that while this presents an optimistic vision of the current state and outlook, this is not the entire reality of the situation.
Outlook. Montserrat's economic indicators are showing and forecasting growth in most sectors. But while this presents an optimistic vision of the current state and outlook, this is not the entire reality of the situation. Government is aware that persons continue to be affected by the ongoing pandemic and the seemingly never-ending variants of COVID and the rising cost of living. As your government, we are concerned with the high fuel prices, issues affecting the supply chain, higher freight charges, all of these resulting in higher than usual prices for basic food items. We are closely monitoring these developments and are currently working on the best way to alleviate the situation. I am pleased to report that it is not all bad news. The launch of Enterprise Development Scheme has seen many businesses and individuals benefit from much needed training and guidance. The first set of applications are being evaluated, and there is still time for businesses that have not applied to submit applications and benefit from training and access to finance. In 2021, we were able to successfully complete the resurfacing of the John A. Osborne Airport runway, and we now look towards the completion of the air traffic control tower this year. After the very successful installation of our fiber optic capacity in 2020, the government launched Project Lightspeed in 2021, an initiative to support the rapid rollout of fiber broadband services to homes and businesses across the island. The government has set an ambitious target to become the most fiber-connected island in the Caribbean by 2022. And we are well on our way to see this becoming a reality as we embrace a new digital economy. I encourage all residents, homeowners, and business people to make the transition to the fiber optic capability as soon as possible so you can benefit from this scheme.
The Premier said government will continue and commence the implementation of several projects and programs this year. During his overview of Montserrat's economic context and outlook, the Premier outlined the projects which will continue or begin during the year. He said these will include programs that will help develop the evidence necessary to formulate policy and advocate for Montserrat on a global level.
Youth employment. My government would have recognized the situation regarding youth unemployment and has taken steps to correct it. We have continued funding for the youth program, with additional capital funds provided to ensure a greater number of young persons are gainfully employed while learning tangible skills. We are also increasing private sector entrepreneurial activity. The Enterprise Development Scheme continues to be rolled out, and the impact should be felt into 2022. Government will also look at how to continue to provide assistance to the private sector in 2022.
The Montserrat Arts Council, MAC, started the new year with a new head of planning and production. Shani Lindsay has been selected as the new head of planning and production as of January 1st, 2022. Lindsay has been with the MAC since its formation in 2014, serving as a media and outreach officer. Before this, she worked with the Department of Culture as the cultural officer since 2012. She is a carnival mass producer and a popular host for national events on TV shows. As head of planning and production, Lindsay will be responsible for creating, developing, and supporting the programs of the Montserrat Arts Council. She's expected to assist private stakeholders as well as other government agencies. The new appointment comes on the heels of another successful execution of a hybrid December carnival by the Arts Council staff and volunteers. More government stories after these messages.
Stop. It's time for dinner.
It's only a little bit.
I said it's dinner time, Jason.
After that, can I have candy?
You've had enough candy for the week.
But I didn't have any today.
I said no, Jason.
But Daddy always lets me have candy.
David, I need you to help me with this. I tell Jason no candy, and he says Daddy always lets him eat candy. I'm not arguing with you. Look, all I'm saying is before you agree to something like candy or watching extra TV, ask him, what did Mommy tell you? Yeah, if this positive discipline method is going to work, we have to stick together. Okay. Alright, bye. Okay, Jason, time for dinner.
Positive discipline is most effective when both parents agree on what methods to use. Support each other and you'll be able to see improvements more consistently. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education, UNICEF, this station, and funded by UK Aid.
The Department of Labour in the Ministry of Communication, Works, Labour and Energy has launched an online survey to consult the public on the creation of Montserrat's national minimum wage. Montserrat currently does not have a national minimum wage. This means that there is no legislation in place to protect workers against low pay. The creation of a national minimum wage will ensure that well-functioning collective bargaining in wage setting is in place. National frameworks allow for statutory minimum wages to be set and regularly updated according to clear and stable criteria. Social partners are effectively involved in statutory minimum wage setting to support minimum wage adequacy. Minimum wage variations and exemptions are eliminated or limited, and national minimum wage frameworks are effectively complied with and monitoring mechanisms are in place. Labour Commissioner Mr. Rudolph Christopher said there are many persons here on Montserrat who work for very low wages. In fact, as low as $5 per hour. A minimum wage will allow such persons to live a better life. The survey went live on February 1st, 2022 and will remain open until March 3rd, 2022. The department welcomes comments from everyone. The survey can be accessed on the Government of Montserrat's website at www.gov.ms. Following the public consultation, a summary of the main findings will be posted on the Government of Montserrat's website.
Germs are tiny little things that can cause disease and make us very sick. They are so tiny that we cannot see them, but they are everywhere. Everything we touch causes germs to get on our hands, but when they get into our bodies, that is when they can make us very sick. That's why it is very important for us to wash our hands often.
The Ministry of Health, Montserrat, has taught our primary school children how to wash their hands properly. Do you know how? You must always use soap to wash your hands. Wash for at least 20 seconds, ensuring that you wash between the fingers, under the fingernails, and up to the wrists. Rinse thoroughly with running water and dry with a paper towel. Washing well and often is the hallmark of good health and reduces the risk of contracting and spreading infectious diseases.
This message was brought to you by the Ministry of Health, Montserrat.
The Office of the Deputy Governor commenced its WhatsApp Life Certificate Validation Service for overseas pensioners for the year 2022 in January. The service is also available for Government of Montserrat pensioners residing on island who are unable to visit the pensions office. To use the service, pensioners are required to add the following number to their WhatsApp: 1664-496-9202. Following this, individuals should send a message indicating that they wish to complete the validation process. A member of staff will then communicate with the pensioner and ask that they present themselves via video call with a valid photo ID. The service is available between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Mondays to Fridays. Please note that following the verification process, pensioners would not be required to physically submit a passport or any other form of identification to the pensions unit. Individuals with questions can contact the Office of the Deputy Governor via telephone on 491-9202 or 491-6523 or 6524 or via its WhatsApp line. The deadline for the submission of life certificates for pensioners on island and overseas is Thursday, March 31st, 2022.
One of those golden apples for me.
Sure, Miss Lisa.
Can I speak to you a moment, please, Terry? Thanks, Terry. So, Renee told me that you were shouting at her, and I noticed a bruise on her left arm in class.
I've been trying to follow this positive discipline list, but she doesn't listen. I have 2 jobs, and by the time I get home, she doesn't want to go to sleep, and I can't deal with all her crying and disobedience.
I understand you must be exhausted. Does she have a routine to follow?
Not really. I make whatever is easiest as she does her homework, and I send her to bed. But she always manages to stay up for an extra 3 hours and ask 1,000,001 questions.
How about you try this? First of all, plan out all your meals for the week. Even if you're going to pick up the ingredients on the same day, knowing what you will cook will take some of the stress of wondering what to do. Then sit with her to review her homework. You guys can chat over dinner and then let her help you wash up. Give her the chance to ask questions, Terry. And make sure to ask her about her day as well. Then, when she's ready for bed, she has the chance to ask you just one more question before it's time for lights out.
That sounds like a lot of work.
In class, she asks questions all the time. It's her way of spending time with you. And I'm sure if you give her the chance to talk to you, she'll be more amenable to going to bed on time. And that means more free time for you.
So this positive discipline thing working for you?
To be honest, some days better than others. But I am getting a lot more practice seeing as he's spending most of his day with me now.
Okay, I'll give your suggestion a try.
And if you ever need someone to talk to or somebody to watch out for you while you work, I'm happy to help.
Thanks, Miss Lisa. Let me get going. I'm on to job number 2.
It's tough to care for a child when you're under stress as well. Ask a friend or family member to assist when you're having trouble coping. This message brought to you by the Ministry of Education, UNICEF, this station, and funded by UK Aid.
The Montserrat Arts Council, under the Office of the Premier, has scheduled the dates for St. Patrick's Festival 2022. This year marks the 40th anniversary for the festival and is slated for March 12th to 19th. Director of the Montserrat Arts Council, MAC, Kenneth Silcutt, stated, St. Patrick's Festival has great significance as it relates to Montserrat's history. I'm looking forward to the planned events to include the National Honours and Awards Ceremony and the history of St. Patrick's book launch, among other activities which will be announced in the coming days. MAC's Head of Planning and Production, Charlene Lindsay, added, as we continue preparations for the 40th anniversary of St. Patrick's Festival, we are looking forward to an exciting week filled with both virtual and face-to-face activities. The St. Patrick's Festival calendar of scheduled events has been released with great consideration to public safety and COVID-19 guidelines. Thank you for tuning in to Government at Work. Join us next month for our next government news package. I am Adina Johnson on behalf of the GIU Government at Work production team, thanking you for watching.